May I invite Professor KNS Acharya Garu from GITAM University, Bangalore, to deliver his lecture on Building on Leadership, Experience in Industry for Transforming Educational Institutions.
Good evening to everyone. Good evening. I understand. Many of you may be thinking, thank God, this is the last session of the day. I can assure you that I am an accidental speaker here today, number one, mainly because about 4 weeks back, Krishna and Ravi were in my campus. They invited me, KNS, why don't you just come over and share some of your perspectives on this? I said, what do you want me to speak? They said, just speak about some of your experiences from the industry when you made a transition to academia. On a very lighter note, people coming from the industry to academia will always get the last chance, the last session. Basically to see that, can you hold academic people to attention at the last session? That's the challenge that I think he has given me. Let me see what I can do for the day. So you see a very funny character here. What we are expecting, people coming from industry to academia look like a professor with a suit and a tie, being stern, a square peg in a round hole, right? What am I going to speak is, you may ask me, Kenneth, how are you authorized to speak on this topic at all? Let me see what my career journey has been a little bit, not my autobiography, but a brief of what I've gone through, what experiences I can share. And in my view, what are the challenges in the leadership that I have seen? Core leadership practices that from industry which I have attempted in the last 1.5 years. And some 3 case studies so that you believe that these are all practices which are being put into practice, not theory. And finally, we have come up with some academic leadership development framework. In the breakout session, I'm going to briefly touch upon, if any of you are interested, some anecdotes on each one of them, and finally the summary. So my career journey makes me authorized to speak on this topic. This is the young, good-looking is doubtful, lecturer and assistant professor. That's how I started off my career as. Had a journey going into a professor, some decent-looking guy, became a professor and dean, right? Then the journey started off into becoming an accidental industry guy. And then again, journey continued and became an associate vice president, president and a director in a technology in an industry. That means the industry did accept people coming from the academia, right? Is it because of me, or is it because of somebody? I felt that somebody is needed like this, I don't know, but it's happened to me. And finally, when I decided to come back to academia did accept me. I am probably, I don't know whether many of you may want to validate, the first professor of practice in the leadership position as a pro-vice chancellor in the university. Just then, just about 4 to 5 months back, Vijay would probably know it better than me. Professor of practice was just then announced, if I am right. Then that I was the first guy who was interviewed for this role. So I didn't know what professor of practice is all about. Applied, got it. Vijay was there as part of the panel. That's how I ended up in GITAM. Now, what next happens, I don't know. So why leadership matters in academia is, I see a lot of common foundational principles exactly needed between industry and academia. I didn't see any change. Academia needs visionary thinking, collaboration, innovative practices, accountability, empathy, adaptability, ethical practices, continuous learning, stakeholder management, resource optimization. Tell me which one is not needed in each of these words. Although both of them are needed. But the problem is in the mind. Right? Many people think that industry practices are not necessarily adaptable to academia. Vice versa. Even the academic and the industry world feels that people coming from academic world, they don't fit in there. Therefore, it's all in the mind. It's not the challenges that we have. What I have found out is there are 4 typical challenges in the educational leadership that I have come across. First and foremost is resistance to change. Outright rejection of industry best practices are non-academic. Many meetings which I had in the first initial phases of my switch from industry to academia, severe resistance, saying that no, these are all industry practices, it will not work here. Right? It took a time, 6 months, toll on my body, my mind, everything. I had to put down a lot of tensions. Then you have limited resources and scalability. When I say resources, it's not necessarily the physical, financial resources, it's about people. Resources in terms of people, prioritizing investments. Funding is never a problem I found in the academic world, because if you have a right problem, if you have a right mindset, if you have right leadership, your investments will flow in. Duplications, abundant duplications, and drive outcomes. Third one being disparity in professional expectations. That is lack of clarity in different styles of leadership needed. I'll touch upon some of those things as I go along. And finally, balancing the innovation, quality, and inclusivity. These are the 4 critical challenges that I feel are absolutely needed in the educational leadership. I'll slightly skip this slide, but I have substantiation of this I have done in the subsequent slide. Vision, strategy, and actions, I must. Industry expects, people coming from industry always expect a data-driven decision making. We don't go by emotions. Agility and innovation, we expect speed of actions, purposeful actions, and we do enjoy a lot of empowerment being given to the next level of people. Integrity and ethical and behavior is non-negotiable everywhere, whether it is academic world or this one. I'm taking 4 case studies based on the time that we are given. Krishna sir, as usual, can ring the bell whenever you feel. The 4 case studies are: one is how did we transform our vision, mission, strategy, goals, and metrics from what was a very casual pushover to the structured way. Second, how did we promote use of technology for promoting innovation? Some of it, Krishna, you saw it when you were there. Leveraging data for data-driven decision making. And lastly, how can collaboratively, when people are brought together, magic happens. The first one is, this was our vision mission, old vision mission of the GITAM University, very bland, to become a global leader in higher education. Who doesn't want to be? We started questioning, we put together a team asking, who doesn't want to be a global leader? Everyone wants, right? Second, our old mission was to impart futuristic, comprehensive education of global standard with high sense of discipline, blah, blah, blah. Very vague. And this has withstood close to about 30 years. And when we did the workshops with people, no one remembered what it was. Not one, including the leaders. We said, therefore, it's all on the board, so nothing is being practiced. So we went through a cycle of about 6 months, brought in a consultant, we put the entire leadership team through that, etc. Finally, we have now come up with our new vision, which is very practical and more grounded, which says we want to be known as exceptional knowledge driven. Knowledge here means both teaching and researching. Advancing it means that we are continuously moving ahead. Culture is very important for us. Honesty is very important for us. Compassion, and all of this should make a difference to the world. So we have put a very compelling vision statement, and this mission, through these 4 mission statements, we want to achieve this vision. You can see the mission. I have intentionally highlighted 4 things. Number 1, we want to be known for application-oriented education. Second, we have to do impactful integrated research, break down the barriers of the siloness within the academic world. Third, with global perspectives. Last but not the least, everything with a culture of kindness. So these 4 things have been now drilled down into the entire organization. Any activity that we do, we measure ourselves based on this mission as well as vision. There is a very clear focus on this. Now comes the challenge. You can see here, having a vision and mission is fine. All the activities that you do in the institution, are they aligned to the strategy, the goals, metrics, and budgets are aligned to these things or not? What did we do is, this is where the paradigm shift started happening for us. We said, you ask budget, it's fine. Every annual budget cycle said it has to go through 5 stages. This is an industry practice. SWOT analysis. Based on the SWOT analysis, you create your annual strategy. Based on the annual strategy, you derive your goal. From the goal, you bring your metrics. Metrics will give you budget. Budget will be tracked. Simple. And we have put a quarterly plan. It is working magic for us. And every department, every function, every school, every campus, and at a university level is now being measured. One, you can see here, got a very strong governance model. Campus leadership meets every week. Department function review happens every month. Research centers are reviewed quarterly. Campus review at management level happens quarterly. And then the university board review happens biannually. Against the goal, metric, budget, everything put together. This is a standard industry practice, and this is what people coming from the industry have been able to implement within the academic circle. This is case study one. The second one is, this is a brilliant one. I know for people coming from the US universities, it may not appeal to you much, but looking at the large scale evaluation mechanisms that we do in the Indian education sector, this will be very appealing for you. We looked at our entire spectrum of how do we conduct the examinations. This is a very common scenario of when you have the mid-semester examination and end-semester examination, where you see on the left side faculty members coming to collect the question papers, answers papers, getting into the classroom, students getting into their classes. It's a chaotic fish market, right? We said this method will not work. How do we leverage technology to implement all of this? We implemented technologies where, whether it is digital cameras, whether it is biometric, whether it is QR code based attendance, whether it is live video streaming from the classrooms, or even the entire data based on mobile. Whether it's sitting in my cabin, I can monitor all these 100 centers, what is happening, how many faculty have come, which student is copying from where. We have reduced the faculty load by 50%. You can see all the data is available. I have shown you the screenshots. Everyone will know how quickly they can get into the classroom. Everything is monitored. And this feedback goes to every faculty, it goes to head of the institution, it goes to principals. So this is the transformation we have been able to bring in through technology implementation. It's a very simple project. This project, we ran it for 6 months in a very agile mode. So people now started believing that people coming from the industry can understand the academic world and implement technology. So you can see the way the classroom, every classroom can be monitored. Everything is given here. This is a live case study. Third one is establishing a research center. The task given to our center was, we had time 5 months to conceive and launch the center. With Krishna, I think you saw the entire center. We had time from October 2023 to February 2025, five flat months available for to design the research center and make it operational. 4 conditions to be met. It must be an applied research, interdisciplinary, longevity of minimum 3 to 5 years of horizon, and it must have an industry partner. And the same set of problems were thrown at all the faculty members. Honestly, I thought no one will come forward. But to my surprise, we had about 45 proposals came from the same set of faculty, and out of from a lot of scrutiny with industry partners, with research partners, we were able to short it down to about 14 to 15 centers, research centers, and we came up with these 13 research labs to be developed. And all of you are welcome to come and look at our research center in Bangalore. These research centers, this is how the center now looks like. The entire research center was set up in 57 flat days, construction done in 57 flat days with multiple people coming together. So what myth we busted? Myth we busted is academic world is slow, collaboration is difficult, parallel processing is tough, industry tough to bring, budgeting system is tough, vendors won't supply to them. All of these myths were busted. And finally, we have come up with, this is in the breakout session, if some of you are interested, we can dwell a little bit more on this. Having done these 4 or 5 case studies, now we are developing a academic leadership framework in the university through a center called Center for Academic Innovation and Advancement. And we have come up with these 9 leadership traits or 9 leadership competencies and 6 attributes which we want every faculty member with a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 leadership to be developed in the organization, and through a pedagogy methods, education, exposure, and experience. This is what we are trying to attempt. the summary is, there are transferable leadership skills from the two domains, from industry to academia, absolutely possible. Second, academia needs industry leaders to bring in strategic changes. Third, leaders coming from the industry need to know everything will not work the same way in the academia. There are many misfits. People have come here, felt offended, and they have left back. That also has happened. Learning and unlearning behavior from leaders on both sides is the key to make this model work. And finally, leaders coming from industry must mandatorily exhibit servant leadership. Otherwise, they will not survive. That has been my experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your profound insights. Your perspectives have added immense value to our gathering. May I now request Professor Krishna Vedula to felicitate Professor KNS Acharya garu. Thank you, sir. We would like to thank our esteemed guests for delivering insightful and inspiring keynote sessions. Your valuable perspectives and expertise have truly enriched us. Thank you.